In the silent, sunless depths of the ocean, where water pressure is capable of crushing the steel hull of a submarine, lives a creature whose mind challenges everything we know about the evolution of life on Earth. Imagine a being capable of turning its own body into liquid mercury. It does not simply move, it flows, filling space like a living mist. It is an absolute master of transformation, possessing the ability to squeeze through an opening barely larger than the diameter of its own eye. If the brain is a fortress, then the body of this creature is a key capable of opening any lock, any barrier created by nature or man. We are accustomed to thinking that intelligence requires a rigid structure, bones, and a skull protecting neural connections. But here we encounter a different scenario. Before us is a liquid intelligence, a consciousness devoid of frames and hardness. It is not just an animal. It is a biological paradox that has existed in our seas for hundreds of millions of years, yet remains as unfathomable to us as an inhabitant of a distant galaxy. In 2016, the walls of the National Aquarium of New Zealand witnessed an event that resembled a daring escape from a maximum security prison more than a random incident involving a marine creature. An octopus named Inky, an ordinary-looking representative of his species at first glance, did something that forced scientists around the world to reconsider the boundaries of animal intelligence. At night, when the aquarium halls plunged into blue silence and human eyes stopped monitoring the cameras, Inky made a decision. He was not driven by hunger or fear. He was guided by pure, crystallized curiosity, a trait characteristic only of higher primates. Using his incredible capacity for deformation, he squeezed through a narrow gap at the top of his tank. Imagine this movement, the soft, silent gliding of 8 dense, muscular tentacles across the cold laboratory floor.
Finding himself on dry land, an environment alien and deadly to him, Inky did not panic. He unmistakably determined his direction, guiding himself by the faint scent of salt and the vibrations of the distant surf reaching him through the drainage system. He crawled several meters across carpeting and tile until he found his black hole, the entrance to a drain pipe only 15 centimeters in diameter. It was a 50-meter journey through the darkness, a narrow steel labyrinth leading straight into Hawke's Bay. Inky voluntarily dived into this unknown, folding his body like origami and trusting his instinct for freedom. In the morning, the staff found only a wet trail on the floor and an empty tank. There was no evidence other than the silent realization they had been sharing a space with a creature that was evaluating them, studying their routine, and eventually outsmarting them. Inky returned to the ocean, leaving us with a question. What else is hidden behind those rectangular pupils that look at the world with a chilling understanding? This escape is just the tip of the iceberg. When we begin to peer into the genetic code of these cephalopods, we are overcome by a strange sense of déjà vu mixed with anxiety. Scientists, analyzing the complexity of the octopus nervous system, are seriously discussing the panspermia hypothesis. It sounds like science fiction, but in 2018, a group of 33 researchers published a paper suggesting that octopuses could be of extraterrestrial origin. According to this bold theory, millions of years ago, during the Cambrian explosion, icy comets traveling through space could have brought cryopreserved eggs or embryos to our planet, creatures with no analogs in Earth's lineage. Look at them more closely. The sudden appearance in the fossil record of incredibly complex eyes, flexible bodies, and the ability to instantly edit their own RNA does not resemble the slow steps of Darwinian evolution. It looks like a quantum leap. We spend billions of dollars pointing radio telescopes into the void of space, hoping to hear a signal from intelligent civilizations. We search for aliens among the stars, theorizing about life on the icy moons of Jupiter or in the sands of Mars. Yet, we ignore the one already living in our seas. The octopus is an outsider that has adapted to our water, our gravity, and our world, yet has retained its alien essence. Its mind is organized in a way that makes it difficult to even find a metaphor to describe it. It is a consciousness distributed throughout the body, a thought that pulses in every tentacle, a mind that can change its shape and color depending on what it is thinking. When you look at an octopus, you look into the eyes of a creature that could have seen the birth of stars in other systems. Its horizontal pupil is not just an optical instrument. It is a true event horizon behind which lies a logic inaccessible to human understanding. We are accustomed to dominating this planet thanks to our skeletons and our ability to use tools. But the octopus proves, to be perfect, one does not have to be rigid. To be wise, one does not have to belong to the human race. Imagine a world where intelligence is not locked inside a bony skull. The octopus does not have a centralized brain authority in the way we are used to. Its nervous system is a kind of internet, where each tentacle is an autonomous server. If an octopus's arm were severed, which we would never wish upon this graceful creature, it would continue to live its own life for a long time. It will search for food, react to light, and attempt to grab objects without even being connected to the head. This is a chilling and fascinating decentralization. Their skin is the most complex organ of communication and camouflage in the known universe. It is not just the body's surface. It is a living holographic screen. An octopus is capable of changing its appearance in a tenth of a second, faster than you can blink.
This requires incredible computational power. Every second, millions of chromatophores receive commands, creating patterns of such complexity that the best military stealth technologies look like children's toys by comparison. It does not simply change color. It copies the texture of a stone, the curve of a coral reef, or even the behavior of another, more dangerous creature. Why did nature endow them with such redundant power? Why does a solitary mollusk need intelligence comparable to that of a dog or even a child? Perhaps the answer lies in the fact that we understand the very concept of life too narrowly. The octopus is a reminder that the universe loves diversity, and that intelligence can flourish in the most bizarre forms. We call them cephalopods, but in this name one feels our disregard, an attempt to classify that which defies classification. These are creatures that know how to play, and play, as is well known, is a supreme sign of a developed consciousness. They recognize people. They can feel sympathy or antipathy toward specific researchers. In one experiment, an octopus systematically disabled a lamp that annoyed it by directing a stream of water at it until a short circuit occurred. This is not instinct. This is critical thinking. It is an engineering approach to solving a problem. Looking at an octopus, we are confronted with a reflection of our own pursuit of knowledge, but in an entirely different, wet, and flexible form. We are creatures of land, fire, and metal. They are creatures of the abyss, pressure, and silence. And in this silence, they have reached heights we have yet to comprehend. Perhaps this is the main secret of our oceans. We are not alone on this planet. We share it with an ancient, wise, and infinitely distant mind that preferred the depths of the ocean to the void of space. And Inky's story is just a brief reminder that the doors to their world are always open to those who dare to look inside. We search for contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, forgetting that every time we lower a hand into seawater, we might be touching another civilization with our fingers. A civilization that does not build cities or launch rockets, but knows something about this world that we, in our armor of bone, have yet to comprehend. The octopus is a mirror of our own fragility, and, at the same time, a symbol of life's infinite possibilities. In a world where everything strives for order and rigidity, it chose chaos and flexibility. And perhaps, behind this choice, lies the future of intelligence in the universe. After all, when the stars go out
and the oceans evaporate. Only this pure will to move, to change, to escape from any aquarium that attempts to restrict the spirit of a living being will remain. Inky went into the darkness of the drainpipe not just for salvation. He went there to show us that for one who has realized their true nature, barriers do not exist. Liquid intelligence will always find a way, and we can only look after the trail vanishing into the deep, wondering who is the true master of this planet. If we decided to create a blueprint of the perfect creature for life in another world, we would hardly arrive at something as daring and impossible as the common octopus. Its biology is not just a set of organs. It is a total denial of all earthly canons of body structure. Peer into this form. There is not a single rigid support, not a single bone capable of restricting the will of this liquid mind. It is a challenge to common sense, embodied in flesh that resembles a highly complex mechanism more than the animal we are used to. Let us descend deeper, to where the light fades and the mass of water turns into a monstrous press, striving to crush everything living. To survive here, in the icy embrace of the abyss, nature was forced to reinvent the very life support system. Inside this elastic body, 3 hearts beat at once.
This is not an extravagance. It is a harsh engineering necessity. Imagine 2 small pumps working exclusively for the gills, pushing vital oxygen through the thinnest membranes. But in the center lies the main systemic heart. It is a tireless motor, supplying blood to all 9 brains and the endless networks of muscles. But a chilling paradox hides here. When the octopus decides to develop maximum speed, when it uses its jet siphon to escape danger or overtake prey, its central heart pauses. It stops. At the most critical moment, when the load on the organism reaches its peak, the main engine shuts down, unable to withstand the pressure created by contracting muscles. Every sudden movement of the octopus is a conscious risk, a small death for the sake of life. It swims on pure willpower, on accumulated reserves, literally suspending the rhythm of its existence. Now, imagine the liquid flowing through its vessels. Forget about the red color, which for us is a symbol of life. In the world of the octopus, the blood is the color of a clear twilight sky or Arctic ice. It is blue, and there is no mysticism in this, only the cold chemistry of survival. Where we use iron in hemoglobin to transport oxygen, the octopus uses copper. Hemocyanin is its personal fuel. Under conditions of extreme cold and low oxygen content, copper proves to be far more effective than iron. It turns its blood into a high-tech antifreeze and a superconductor of gases. This is a copper ocean inside a living being, allowing it to remain active where any other warm-blooded or skeletal animal would turn into an immobile block of ice. But the true crown of this creature's creation is not on the inside, but on the outside, its skin. This is not just a protective layer. It is the most complex biological interface on the planet. If we could build a monitor with a resolution higher than 4K, capable of changing its physical shape, we would only begin to approach what the octopus does instinctively. Every square millimeter of its surface is covered with millions of tiny cells called chromatophores. Imagine elastic sacs filled with pigments, black, brown, red, yellow. Connected to each such sac are dozens of ultra-thin nerve endings and muscles. When the octopus's brain issues a command, these muscles contract, stretching the color sac to the size of a large disc, or relax, turning it into an invisible speck. This happens instantaneously, in 1/10 of a second. This is faster than the human eye can register a frame change. The octopus does not just change color. It broadcasts a highly complex film on its skin. It can trigger dark waves across its body, mimicking the play of shadows on the seabed, or bloom with bright spots, warning of its toxicity. But chromatophores are only the first layer of this living screen.
Beneath them lie iridophores and leucophores, mirror cells that reflect the surrounding light, creating a metallic sheen or dazzling whiteness. This allows it to literally disappear, blending in with the water's glare. But the octopus's camouflage goes far beyond visual deception. It is a master of real-time, three-dimensional printing. Located on its skin are thousands of pupillae, special muscle bundles that can instantaneously change texture. One moment, smooth as silk, the octopus suddenly becomes covered with sharp spikes, mimicking a coral growth, or bumpy, like an old moss-covered sea stone. It does not just look like a stone, it feels like a stone. Sitting in ambush, it turns into a ghost, an optical illusion that even the most experienced predator cannot detect. And here we arrive at the most incredible discovery of recent years. The octopus sees with its skin. It is hard to believe, but its entire body is one giant eye. Scientists have discovered the exact same light-sensitive proteins, opsins, in its skin as those found in its primary eyes.
This means that even if the octopus is asleep or its head is hidden in a crevice, its skin feels light and shadow. It perceives light intensity and the color spectrum independently of its central vision. The skin makes the decision about the camouflage color before the information even reaches the main brain. This decentralized vision, distributed across the entire surface of the body, makes it practically invulnerable to attacks from behind. Imagine if you could see with your elbows or your back. For the octopus, this is commonplace. When we look at it, we see softness, an almost ethereal fluidity. But this softness is deceptive. Hidden at the center of its interwoven tentacles is the only hard place in its body, the beak. It is made of chitin, but in its structure and durability, it surpasses many artificial alloys. This beak is an ideal instrument of destruction. It works on the principle of a powerful hydraulic press. The octopus is capable of easily crushing crab shells and mollusk shells that you could not break even with a hammer. The crushing force of this beak is such that it can leave deep grooves on durable plastic or aluminum. This is the only assembly point of its body. Everything else is merely pliable muscle, capable of squeezing through any opening that this hard element can pass through. If the beak fits through a gap, it means the entire creature is already through. Its tentacles are another masterpiece of biological engineering. Tens of thousands of suckers, each of which is an individual sensory organ. An octopus's sucker does not just hold, it tastes. It senses the chemical composition of the water and the surface it touches. Every movement of a tentacle is a highly complex calculation that occurs independently of the central brain. While the octopus scans the horizon, its arm can autonomously find prey in a narrow crevice, assess its size, density, and suitability for food. It is as if your fingers possess their own consciousness and a tongue capable of distinguishing tastes. The entire anatomy of the octopus is a hymn to adaptation. It is a creature that rejected the protection of a skeleton for the sake of absolute freedom of movement. It turned its skin into a living computer and its blood into an efficient coolant. Its three hearts sing a strange, intermittent song of survival, and its blue blood carries the secrets of ancient oceans. We look at it and see an alien, but the truth is, it is a more complete inhabitant of Earth than we are. It has mastered a space in which we are but temporary guests in spacesuits. It is a bio-robot made of water and slime, whose complexity makes our boldest technological dreams fade. And every time it changes color, mimicking reality itself, it reminds us, form is but an illusion, and true strength lies in the ability to change along with the world. But what happens beneath this changing skin, in the deepest depths of its decentralized essence, makes us question the very exclusivity of human consciousness. We are accustomed to thinking of the mind as a monarchy, where a single ruler, the brain,
sits in the high tower of the skull, dictating its will to every cell in the body. But the octopus is a radical democracy, bordering on an anarchy of the highest order. Imagine a biological supercomputer whose architecture is distributed throughout the entire organism, so that the very concept of self becomes blurred and multi-layered. This creature has not one brain, but 9. Located in its head is a central processor coordinating general strategies and storing long-term memory. But this is just the tip of the intellectual iceberg. Hidden in each of the 8 tentacles is its own mini-computer, an autonomous ganglion possessing chilling independence. These are not merely nerve clusters, they are fully functioning decision-making centers. Try to imagine what it is like to be an octopus.
While your central consciousness is occupied with watching a passing threat, your right front arm can independently decide to explore a narrow crevice. It does not wait for a command from above. It senses the taste of the stone with its suckers, evaluates the texture of the sand, and, upon finding prey, decides entirely on its own how to attack it. At that moment, the tentacle is an individual entity, possessing its own touch, taste, and will to act. It is a distributed network where the limbs can communicate with each other, passing information while bypassing the head. It is a mind that does not just think, it senses the world in 8 different ways simultaneously, creating a symphony of perception that our monolithic human brains simply cannot digest. Yet it is precisely here, at the peak of this incredible biological perfection, that nature plays out its most cruel and majestic drama. Hidden within this dazzling intelligence is a flaw that seems to us social creatures to be the height of injustice. The octopus is an absolute existential loner. It is locked in eternal isolation, deprived of what made us human, cultural continuity. We stand on the shoulders of giants. We learn from parents, adopt experience from teachers, and read books written by people who died thousands of years ago. We accumulate knowledge, passing it from generation to generation like a sacred fire. But the octopus is deprived of the ghosts of its past. Every new generation of these brilliant mollusks is born into a world where there are no mentors, no textbooks, and no accumulated experience of ancestors. Every tiny octopus, having just hatched from its egg, is a blank slate, a tabula rasa, forced to learn the rules of the brutal game called life from absolute scratch. In this lies the greatest tragedy of their species. The life cycle of an octopus is a path of self-sacrifice unparalleled in its severity. A mother octopus, having laid thousands of translucent eggs in a protected grotto, voluntarily ascends the altar of the future. From that moment on, her life as an individual ends. She turns into a living shield. For many months, she does not eat, does not sleep, and does not leave her clutch for even a second. She constantly bathes the eggs with fresh water, oxygenating them and brushing away the smallest particles of dirt. She slowly fades away, her body becoming depleted, her skin paling, and her eyes losing their luster. She literally digests her own tissues to maintain the strength to guard her young. And at the very moment the first 100 tiny copies of the mother take their first breath in the open ocean, the mother's life ends. She dies of exhaustion just as her children begin their journey. They will never see her hunt, never know how she camouflaged herself from predators, or how she opened mollusk shells. They will never hear, even if they could hear, her advice. All the colossal experience, all the neural connections accumulated by her over years of living in the abyss, vanish, erased from the world's memory forever. This is an intellectual genocide that nature orchestrates every few years. Imagine if humanity were struck by total amnesia every 20 years, and we were forced to reinvent fire, the wheel, and writing all over again. We would never have emerged from the caves. Yet the octopus manages, in this eternal Groundhog Day, to reach a level of intelligence that allows it to solve highly complex logical problems. Evolutionary scientists often ask a haunting question. What if this biological barrier fell? What if octopuses lived not 3 to 5 years, but at least 20? What if they could form social bonds, build communities, and pass accumulated knowledge to their offspring? The answer sends a chill down the spine. With their 9 brains, their capacity for instant camouflage, and the manipulative capabilities of 8 arms working in full coordination, they would not simply compete with us, they would make us redundant. Octopuses could build a civilization based not on rigid materials and fire, but on biochemistry and shape manipulation. But nature, as if frightened by its own creation, put this rigid safeguard in place: a short lifespan and a ban on learning from ancestors. It created a genius, but condemned it to eternal infancy. We look at them through the aquarium glass and see amusing animals, but in truth, we are looking at the failed rulers of the world. Every octopus is a philosopher who, in its short life, manages to understand more than many of us do over decades. It learns through trial and error. It experiments, and it exhibits a curiosity that seems almost human. But its time is inexorably running out. It is a bright comet, flashing in the darkness of the ocean, and fading before it has time to tell of what it saw. There is something deeply touching about this drama of a lack of continuity. It makes every achievement of the octopus, every use of a coconut shell as a shield, every picked lock, every solved puzzle, an act of pure, unadulterated genius. No one showed it how to do this. It figured it out on its own, in proud solitude, defying the biological clock ticking in its blood, counting down its final months. Perhaps it is this very tragedy that makes them so similar to us in our moments of deepest despair. We too often feel alone in a vast universe, trying to find meaning where there may be none. But the octopus does not search for meaning. It lives for discovery. Its 9 brains work at the limit of their capabilities, processing every glint of light and every chemical signal in the water, as if trying to absorb the entire world in the few years allotted to it. And when we think of their intelligence, we must remember, they are us, had we been stripped of history. They are pure consciousness, unsupported by the crutches of culture. And the fact that under such conditions they remain intelligent, feeling creatures capable of complex emotions speaks far more about life than all our scientific volumes combined. It is a will to intellect that breaks through any barriers, even through death itself standing on the threshold of birth. When this liquid intelligence goes on the warpath, the ocean turns into a chessboard where the rules change every moment. We are accustomed to believing that the use of tools is a privilege of humans or, at best, higher primates. But the octopus refutes this dogma with the icy composure of a professional strategist. It is a universal soldier of the abyss, capable of turning any surrounding object into an element of defense or an instrument of death. Peer at the behavior of the coconut octopus. It is a sight bordering on the absurd, yet it inspires awe. Upon finding 2 halves of a discarded coconut shell or the empty shells of large mollusks, it does not simply hide in them. It takes them along. The octopus stacks them inside one another, clamps them under its soft body, and begins to move across the seabed on 2 tentacles, literally walking on the sand, like a wandering knight carrying his castle in his hands. It exhibits what scientists call the capacity for planning. It foresees danger in open spaces and prepares a shelter in advance. In the event of a threat, it clamps the halves shut from the inside within seconds, turning into an impenetrable sphere. This is not instinct, it is logic, a triumph of mind over circumstance, where a soft creature utilizes the hardness of the external world for its own protection.
But if a coconut shell is a shield, certain species of octopuses have gone even further in their martial art, mastering the tactic of biological fencing.
The blanket octopus performs something beyond daring. It attacks the Portuguese man-of-war, one of the most dangerous creatures in the ocean, whose tentacles are laced with a deadly neurotoxin, capable of paralyzing even large fish. The octopus, possessing immunity to this venom, unceremoniously rips off the stinging tentacles of the man-of-war and wraps them around its own arms. From that moment on, it is armed. It patrols the water column, wielding live, venomous whips, using another's lethality as its own weapon. This is pure, cold pragmatism, taking the enemy's strength and making it one's own. The octopus's hunt itself is a symphony of deception and surgical precision. It does not merely pursue its prey, it plays with it. Sometimes it employs a cloud strategy. Detecting a cluster of crabs or small fish on a coral reef, the octopus flattens its body, stretching the webbing between its tentacles so that it turns into a huge living parachute or dome. It covers an entire section of the seabed, creating impenetrable darkness. Inside this living tent, chaos ensues. The octopus's tentacles, each possessing its own will and taste receptors, methodically search every centimeter of space beneath the dome. The prey has nowhere to run. It is locked inside a carnivorous cloud. But when it comes to direct contact, the only hard weapon in this soft body comes into play: the beak. Look at it closely. This black, horny growth, hidden at the center of the muscle plexus, is not inferior in hardness and sharpness to the fangs of a tiger. Its design is flawless. The beak works on the principle of a powerful lever, capable of crushing shells that a human could not break even with a hammer. But physical strength is not enough. As soon as the beak drills a tiny hole in a crab's armor, the octopus injects a paralyzing cocktail.
Its saliva contains highly complex toxins that turn the victim's muscles to jelly in seconds, initiating the digestive process before the food even reaches the predator's stomach. This is hunting on a molecular level, where mechanical destruction is complemented by chemical termination. Sometimes it defeats an enemy 10 times its size. There is footage of an octopus attacking a shark. This is not a battle of rage, it is a battle of intellect against muscle. The octopus does not try to bite the shark in half, it knows its weak points. It wraps around the predator's head, blocks its gills, and waits until oxygen deprivation renders the giant helpless. At that moment, it resembles an experienced wrestler who knows that a single precise hold is worth 1,000 strikes. Yet the true greatness of its mind is revealed in laboratories, in conditions entirely alien to its nature. The octopus is the Houdini of the underwater world. Place a jar with a tightly screwed lid before it, containing a delicious treat inside, and you will witness a marvel. It will not beat against the glass in futile rage. It will begin to explore. Its suckers will feel the edge of the lid. Its tentacles will find the direction of the thread. With the precision of a professional safecracker, it will begin to turn the lid, applying exactly as much force as necessary. In multi-level puzzle-solving tests, octopuses demonstrate results that baffle even primate specialists. They are capable of remembering sequences of actions, pulling a lever, turning a latch, pressing a button. If one octopus observes another solving a task, it learns instantly. This is known as social learning, and for a long time it was believed that solitary creatures were incapable of it. But the octopus cares nothing for our scientific classifications. It solves problems not because it was taught to do so, but because it understands the structure of the problem.
Its 9 brains work in unison, analyzing space, time, and the mechanics of objects. It can distinguish shapes and colors, and it remembers those who have mistreated it and those who feed it. In some laboratories, octopuses began to cause mischief, squirting water at keepers they disliked, or deliberately disabling equipment by directing powerful jets of water at electrical panels, causing short circuits. This is the behavior of a bored creature, one whose mind demands constant stimulation.
In its hunting, in its survival, there is no room for chance. Every movement is calculated. Every color change is a deliberate move in an endless war for existence. It is a master of camouflage, a master of tools, a master of chemical warfare. But behind this entire arsenal lies something greater, a pure, limitless will to live. The octopus does not simply survive in the ocean. It bends the ocean to its will, using its intelligence as a universal key to any door nature closes before it. And seeing how it solves yet another impossible task, we cannot help but ask, if it is capable of such feats in its soft, vulnerable body, what would this mind be capable of if it had even a fraction of our technologies at its disposal? But it does not need technology. It has 8 arms, 9 brains, and the infinite depth of the ocean, where it is an absolute and indisputable genius of war. For long centuries, our collective imagination was poisoned by a primal fear of the abyss. In the hazy tales of sailors, the yellowed diaries of explorers, and the dark novels of the Victorian era, the octopus was never just an animal. It was the Kraken, a monster whose writhing coils could strangle a frigate, whose skin was the color of death itself, and whose mind, if it was acknowledged at all, was deemed cold, malicious, and infinitely alien to everything human. We looked into the depths and saw only our own nightmares, clad in flesh and slime.
We created the myth of the monster to justify our inability to understand a creature that lived by different laws of gravity and morality. But today, as the light of science has finally pierced the mass of water, this myth is crumbling, revealing a truth that frightens and fascinates far more than any legend of a sea serpent. It turned out that behind the terrifying appearance of the many-armed devil lies a personality. And this is no metaphor. Modern marine biologists, spending thousands of hours in laboratories and underwater stations, have encountered a phenomenon long considered an exclusive privilege of higher mammals. Octopuses are capable of recognizing us by face. Imagine this moment. In the sterile silence of a laboratory, through the thick glass of an aquarium, a creature looks at you, whose ancestor branched off from yours on the evolutionary tree more than 500 million years ago. And it does not merely look, it analyzes. Scientists conducted experiments where 2 people dressed in identical uniforms behaved differently. One was friendly and offered food, while the other acted aloof or even caused mild discomfort. The octopuses unmistakably distinguished between them, even if they changed masks or clothing. They showed clear fondness for some and squirted water from their siphons at others, demonstrating character, quirks, and incredible social memory. This discovery led to a tectonic shift in our worldview. The octopus became the only invertebrate creature on the planet endowed with the official right to ethical treatment. In international scientific law, it is no longer considered merely a specimen or a reflex organism. It is recognized as a sentient being capable of feeling pain, fear, and, most remarkably, boredom. Yes, this liquid genius suffers from monotony. Finding itself in an empty tank, it begins to pine away, but if given a simple toy, a plastic ball or a jar with a lid, it transforms. It begins to play. Play is the greatest marker of intelligence. It is an activity devoid of immediate biological benefit, a pure act of curiosity. To see an 8-armed creature spend hours bouncing a bubble of air or juggling pebbles is to realize that the joy of discovery does not require a spine or lungs. But here, in the rays of this intellectual triumph, we encounter the most bitter and inexplicable tragedy nature has ever written. It is the tragedy of time. Before us stands a creature whose brain has the power of a supercomputer, whose capacities for camouflage and manipulation border on magic, yet whose biological lifespan is equal to that of a moth.
Most octopuses live from 1 to 5 years. This seems like a biological error, a cruel mockery of the universe. Imagine a genius composer who dies barely having learned musical notation, or a scientist whose mind fades at the very moment they stand on the threshold of a monumental discovery. All this colossal potential, 9 brains, the ability to edit its own RNA, all of it flashes with the brilliant light of a supernova and fades, leaving nothing behind. Due to the lack of cultural continuity we spoke of earlier and this incredibly short life cycle, the octopus resembles an eternal guest who entered our world for only a brief moment. It is a genius trapped in an ephemeral body. It does not have time to grow old. It does not have time to accumulate wisdom it could share. It simply lives at the limit of its capabilities, absorbing reality with every sucker, every neuron, as if knowing its time is running out faster than sand in an hourglass. This forces us to look at ourselves anew. We, accustomed to measuring the success of civilization in centuries and millennia, suddenly see before us a different model of existence. A model where intelligence exists not for the sake of accumulation, but for the very process of awareness.
Perhaps the octopus is a reminder from the universe that consciousness can take forms entirely different from our skeletal frames. We look for aliens arriving in ships of metal and plastic, but perhaps the true contact has already occurred. When you look into the eye of an octopus, you see more than just an organ of vision. You see a rectangular pupil, a horizontal slit that looks like the lens of some unearthly camera. This pupil always remains parallel to the horizon, no matter how the animal's body rotates. It is a stabilizer of reality. Looking into this pupil, you are truly looking into the eyes of a creature from another world that chose a different path. We chose the path of rigidity, skeletons, tools, and the transmission of words. It chose the path of fluidity, changing colors, and a silent mind distributed across its tentacles. In this look, there is none of the hostility our ancestors so feared. In it lies something far deeper, a mirror of our own will to live. The octopus teaches us the main thing. Intelligence is not the privilege of those who possess a skull and a spine. It is a universal force capable of taking root in any corner of the ocean, in any body, no matter how strange it may seem to us. Its existence is a hymn to life that does not fear its own fragility. Its path teaches us that to be intelligent, one does not have to build cities or write books. It is enough to possess an insatiable thirst for discovery, the capacity for wonder, and the courage to step outside the boundaries of one's own aquarium. The tragedy of the octopus is its greatness. It dies young, remaining an eternal student, an eternal explorer. And perhaps, in the grand scale of eternity, its short but dazzlingly rich life is worth more than centuries of slow vegetation. Watching it disappear in a cloud of ink or blend into a coral reef, we realize we are not the masters of this world. We are merely some of its many and very different observers.
And as long as this blue blood pulses in the depths of the ocean, as long as 3 hearts beat in unison with the rhythm of the tides, the mystery of life remains open. We are creatures of flesh and bone. It is a creature of water and thought. But we are united by one thing, the will to see, feel, and understand this strange, beautiful, and infinite world in which a skeleton is but an option and intelligence is a fundamental law. And perhaps, one day, we will understand that the rectangular pupil in the depths of the abyss saw a truth that we, in our bony armor, were simply afraid to notice. The truth that we were never alone. We simply did not know how to recognize our brothers in intelligence in those who do not resemble us. But now that we know, there is no turning back. We look into the deep, and the deep looks back at us. And in this look, there is no more fear, only the infinite, mutual, and reverent curiosity of 2 great wanderers in the ocean of existence.